Is there a way of uploading the schema provided with the pillar articles in the schema tech, which I can simply add to my article schema? And I'll show you how I go about doing that in the short term. Because I could say, yeah, we're going to try to do that with our in the schema tech, but I can't make a huge promise on that because we've got a lot of other stuff coming. But here's a quick way to do that. So if you have your article schema in schema tech, it's going to come out looking something like, find it, this. All right, so you're going to have your article. It's going to have the ID, you know, whatever. Here's article schema. Okay. I'm going to cut out some of this just so it's easier to see. So this part here, I'm just deleting as the abstract. This is kind of like the, right. And then here's the article body. I'm going to trim that down so it's not so long. And I'll show you exactly how I do, because this is content I get back from my writers. So this is for that American Chiro site. Okay, so here's one. Is bike riding good for sciatica? Okay, so here's the article that I get just like you guys get. Here's the schema that comes back with it. And here's the FAQs that come back with it, right? So what I do, and this has been on my to-do list to do this video anyway, so I'll shoot another video at some point to send out with our schema stuff. So I'll go into WordPress and I'll create that post. Come on. There we go. And then I'll just update the ID of the post, right? So you already have this from Schema Tech because you already did it. But these aren't in Schema Tech at the moment for this one. So how you can change or how you can go about doing it. Download this from Schema Tech, right? You know how you can copy it and you're getting ready to paste it in. So copy what you take from Schema Tech and normally paste in, right? And then what you're going to do is go to this About section right here, copy down from About all the way down to after the mentions and grab that last square bracket there. And then what I do is I go here into the About. So About starts at number 24 on this one. And the mentions, so there's About, let me see where mention starts. Mention starts right here at 72. This is an old article, and then it ends right here. So there's that square bracket right there that ends the About and the mentions. So what you do is grab it from your article, copy, and highlight from that square bracket up to the beginning square, or right up in front of the About. Okay, and then paste that in. So I did is I took from the end of the square bracket for the mentions up to the beginning of the About and just replaced that with what was generated in the schema generator for the article. Because the publisher, author, date published, all that stuff you've already done from Schema Tech. So you don't have to update that. The other thing I do, right, we have this has part. So what I've done is coded this in. And I'll put this in chat since you guys can see my chat. Chat. So you just add that line into your schema if you don't want to put the FAQ into Schema Tech for now. But you do this has part and you give the ID of hashtag FAQ. And then down here, right here is the FAQ part. Okay. Since this is going to be embedded into an article, I don't need all this other article part. Okay. So I'm going to give you the entire FAQ part right here. Okay, well, it won't let me paste that in there. What's the deal? Copy. Here, I'll just do a notepad. FAQ. Okay, so here's my FAQ, right? So I rewrote this section here to get rid of the add article and all that stuff. And I give it an ID of FAQ. And then within the article schema, insert into article. And again, this is specifically for the content you get back from us from the store. Because if you already have put the FAQ into the Schema Tech software, it'll be doing this part for you. But this is if you don't go and want to retype all those questions, this is kind of the quick workaround until we eventually maybe you'll build that in. No promises on that, but I'm just saying, grab your article schema, add this line into it, and then rewrite the FAQs like you see here. You're just going to take basically this top section right here. So the script, context, type, and ID. And then you're going to go to the article that you received. And you're going to go right here to main entity. So from main entity all the way down to the end of the square bracket right there. Copy that. And you're going to go back here, main entity, all the way down to the square bracket right there. So let me do that on the actual page that I was showing you. So here within the FAQ down here at the bottom, I'm going to select from this line here where the main entity starts, go all the way to the square bracket at the bottom, paste it in. And then here, let me just put abstract here so don't give me a warning when I test it for you. Abstract and article body. Now we're going with the assumption that I updated the URL and the headline to match what this new article is about. I haven't done that on this one, but this would, since this article, what is it? Is bike riding good for sciatica? So this URL is going to say is bike riding good for sciatica. The ID is going to be is bike riding good for sciatica. The URL here is bike riding good for sciatica. Keyword is bike riding good. Headline is bike riding. You get the point. And then my image, whatever my feature image on that article, I'm going to update here. And I'm going to probably name it is bike riding good for sciatica or some other similar term. And then I'll copy this whole thing. And we'll go back to the validator, new test, and run test. So now I have an article, right, that I got back. And here's the FAQ section that they gave me that I'm pulling into the Schema Tech software just by doing that little part there. I've updated the abouts and the mentions and all that kind of thing. So instead of having to go in and type all those in, you can do it just this way I just showed you. So hope that helps answer your question, Daryl. It's kind of a workaround. But we'd like to eventually have where you can upload. The problem is when we send you, so when you get, let me find it. Oh, here it is. When you get this back, right? For a web page, we're telling you to replace your headline, replace your URL. Like we're not providing the node referenced schema setup like we do in our software with the content. So basically the software would rewrite all this part for you, and you can then just take your about and your mentions and copy it into the section that you copy. So hope that makes sense. I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. Maybe. So for an example, project, of course, I picked the wrong one that didn't have anything left in it. Okay, so here's an article, edit. So you go ahead and put all this stuff in here, right? Article body, image, audience, abstract, all that kind of stuff. The abouts and the mentions, right? So if I have, let's do this, replace this section, replace this section, right? And then here's my mentions, mention, replace. Mention, replace. Okay, and I put the date, done, whatever. I'm going to say that I didn't put the FAQs in there. So let's just get rid of that for none. And then here's my organization. I'm going to do an organization. And we'll just go with the organization piece, save. We got some CSS problem right there. I'll have to show Caesar later. But so now if I go to this article schema 4, generate. So Control C. I'll put it into another. Okay. Control A, Control C. There we go. Okay, so here's the article that I would get from my example. Obviously, my article body is just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But here's the about and the mentions. And you can see here's that closed square bracket I was talking about at the end of the mentions and the start of the about. So let's assume now that this is what I put in, and I want to take what I was given from the pillar page content. I go back to my pillar page content. I'm going to grab from the about to the square down part here of at the end of the mention. You can see that little square bracket right there. Control copy that. I'm going to go from about right here to the end of the square at the end of the mentions. So that square, I got to leave that comment. I just want to go to the end of the square, paste that in, right? Now I also want to add the FAQ part. So we'll go, let me grab this piece I told you to do. What do I do with it? There we go. So I'm going to add this has part. I don't want to put those into so right here after this comma. We'll do enter has part. Okay, so I have that there. And now I'm going to take, and I'll share this. I'll put this in it with this video when we upload it. So I'm going to copy this like I showed you. Well, here, I'll just do it from what you get so you can see how I would remake it. So if we go to here, go down here to the FAQ section, right? So here's the FAQ schema that comes with my article. Control C. I'll go down here at the bottom of this and do the FAQ. Okay, so I don't need the URL or the headline because that's going to be pulled in from the article. All I need is to replace this with hashtag FAQ. Hashtag FAQ. And that is to match what I put right here, hashtag FAQ. You can put whatever you want. You can see when I highlight this, it highlights down there that are matching. Okay. So now what's going to happen is it's going to pull all of this entire piece of schema here and place it inside my article right there. So now if I control copy that, go new test, run this test. So there's your article. So hope that helps. That's kind of quick, easy way. I showed you how to just grab from the schema generator, grab it here, and then just take those two pieces there and update what's here instead of having to go in and manually type all those abouts and mentions in, since we give them to you as part of your article. So hope that helps.